This time of year, every Kriyas HaTorah sounds the same. Again and again, we're hearing about the details of the construction of the Mishkan. Why so much repetition? The Gemara learns halachos out of every single extra letter, every extra word in the Torah, and yet here we seem to have sukkim upon sukkim upon sukkim of repetition. Why whole sections of the Torah that seem to be extra? And of all the repetition, there seems to be one concept that repeats itself again and again. That there are so many times the Torah tells us that the people that put their heart into building the Mishkan. Why is this phrase so essential that it gets repeated again and again and again? And there are several differences that the Rishonim, that the Mefarshim highlight. The Ramban goes into great detail, and he says it's like Yafa Sichasa and Shalav Yavos. It's like similar to the way that we repeat the stories of Eliezer. But there's so much more here, and we wonder, what are those details all about? Rav Pam Zichron Livracha in his Atar LaMelech pointed out a small variation that takes place in the text. It may even go unnoticed, but in fact it highlights the central theme of the repetition. In the first two parashas that we had of the Mishkan, the Torah says, Ve'asisa, and you should make. But in these last two parashos, the Torah says, Vayas, and he made. The Torah relates that this beloved construction project, the Asuli Mikdash, this building, the sanctuary from God, was now complete. It was constructed. It was a reality. Many construction projects start with a dream and a blueprint, and for a variety of reasons, they remain a dream. Sometimes it's very technical, but they don't become a reality. The Torah repeats because it's beloved, because it switched from Vyasisa to Vayas. The dream became a reality. And life is full of dreams and aspirations, personal goals, family goals, spiritual goals. We dream big, and yet we don't always achieve. What's different about the people that somehow find ways to dig deep into themselves and keep pushing to make a dream into reality? They're driven. Where does that come from? That's why the Torah says, specifically in this context, Kol asher nisa'o libo, anyone whose heart drives him or her, if you want the Mishkan to move from a dream to a reality, you need to be fully dedicated. It's not just enough to give your gold, to give a donation. You can't write a check and be Yotze. You need to pour your heart and your soul, every fiber of your being, into it. And the Ramban explains that they were so dedicated, they became so involved in the work, the craftsmanship. These were things they had never done before. Think about all the beautiful kalim, the vessels, the embroidered curtains. Where did they learn all this from? They were slaves in Egypt. They didn't have training. They had no idea how to do it. But they were dedicated and they took initiative. They tapped into the deepest reservoirs of their souls to bring talents that Hashem had embedded in them and to put into their work. Transforming the V'asisa into Vayas requires a dedicated lave. But there's one final point. As repetitive as these parshios are, they're broken up. We just read Kisisa. We just read the story of the Egel HaZahav. Why in the middle? Why does the Torah break up this repetition of the plans of the Mishkan till the reality? And I think that what the Torah is teaching us is that the final step in transforming V'asisa into Vayas is that even if you have plans and even if you have a fully dedicated heart, sometimes even on that path to try to make your dreams a reality, you may hit a bump in the road and you may even crash, as the Jews did when they built that Egel HaZahav. But that does not have to be the end. You don't have to give up on your dreams, on your aspirations, on your goals because you've faltered or because you've hit an obstacle. We all have dreams and hopes and goals. And the veiled lesson of the Mishkan's repetition is such an important one. Because in order to achieve your goals, you need to be dedicated. But more than dedication, you have to realize that just as the Jews erred and made a mistake and fell with the Egel, so too you may fall. But the key is to get back up. VaYakhel Moshe. Moshe gathers the people together. Let's get back to business. Is the formula guaranteed? No, there are no guarantees. But if we try, if we want Hashem to bless our plans and our actions, we need to show our dedication. We need to show our lave. And then with Hashem's help, all of us will be able to dedicate ourselves to one of our personal goals, and they're going to be different for each and every one of us. Whether it's in Tefillah, whether it's in Shabbos, whether it's bin Adam l'Makkah, bin Adam l'Chavero, find that goal for yourself. Make that a place for the Mishkan, for the Shekhinah to be Shora. And if you put your efforts into it, then you can turn the Vasisa into Vayas. You can actualize that potential through your lave. And even if there's a bump along the road, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us. That if we are trying to do our part, He will bless our efforts and help us all achieve all that our hearts desire.